Hello, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. We can't hear. Chat is muted. Fudge in the chat. Fudge in the chat. Welcome to the live stream, everybody. What a wow! What a outside of the episode last 15 minutes we had. And what I mean by that is it was incredibly hard to pay attention to the show with all of the tea that came out in the last little while as the show was airing. I honestly had a hard time paying attention because with everything that came out on Blake's Instagram, holy smokes, we've got tea everywhere. Watch your step because it's not safe out there. Tea's all over the floor. Um, so before we get into the tea and everything that happened, welcome to the Bachelor in Paradise Night 2 post-show discussion. If you're new to the stream, this is where we just, talk about the show that just happened right off the cuff. No fancy editing or prepared statements or recaps or anything like that. If you're watching this after the fact on a recording, welcome. If you're looking for the recap, that's going to be coming out on Thursday. This time, it's going to be one long one detailing everything. But we only have a couple of rules here. Number one, please no outright spoilers. We know that Paradise has ended filming, and inevitably there's going to be spoilers coming out here and there. Just no outright spoilers. Sleuthing is encouraged, but other than that, just there's no real rules. Just be kind to each other. That's number two, and that's it. So yeah, holy smokes. So I guess we'll get right into the tea. We won't wait on that. We'll drink it while it's hot. So I'm still kind of catching up to it, seeing what the heck is going on here. I'm sure there's going to be a lot more coming out. I imagine Caelynn will have more responses to this, and there's going to be a lot more to discuss as Paradise goes on. But for those of you who are not in the know, sometime during this episode, Blake posted on his Instagram a response to the whole Caelynn drama and everything, the stagecoach drama, him being with Christina, and then Caelynn one night after the other, sort of defending himself. And initially, he posted just a a series of notes from his phone on Instagram as pictures, just kind of describing, ultimately apologizing for everything. But also on his story, he posted a number of text messages between him and Caelynn, and a lot of them describe Caelynn as the one that is asking and pushing for relations with him, and him kind of being like, I don't know, and her being like, come on, let's do this, and being very blatant about it. So I encourage you to go over and check it out for yourself. This is pretty it's pretty crazy. If you thought things were going to be toned down from all the craziness of the Bachelorette and all the tea that came out outside of the show, it looks like it's just going to be even more for Paradise, and of course it is. It's like trying to. You got to have a detective board to figure out what the heck is happening with all the drama that's happening on the show, outside of the show. It's nuts. I'm just befumbled,
I'm like
honestly.
befumbled.
So
I don't know another word.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other stuff to talk about with the show, but really, at the end of the day, when it comes to the Blake everything, I'm really kind of guarded in both directions. Certainly, I do believe that Blake knows that there was wrongdoing on his part, but I think there's also more to this story than meets the eye. Before we definitively get our pitchforks out and start walking in one direction or the other towards whoever it is, I'd say let's sit. I think this is a time where there's going to be so much tea in the next while that we sit, we enjoy, we sip, and see what comes out, because I feel like this is not the end of the story, and there's going to be more happening in Paradise and more happening behind the scenes. So holy smokes. I'm kind of here sitting on the Blake drama and waiting for every morsel of information, but I'll be addressing it more in the upcoming videos. So we'll see. Yeah, too much tea. There's way too much tea. Um, and then there was tell me why Cam and Caelynn Loki make a lot of sense. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think Caelynn is smart, and she knows that Cam's interested, and she's gonna explore that. But also, I think she'll drop Cam really, really quickly when Mike comes into Paradise. I'm thinking it's next week. That's what they're sort of hinting at. Um, yeah, and also there seems to be. We'll talk about again the Clay drama as well. And that's a situation where I think my gut was telling me that I kind of believe Clay a bit. I mean, there's two sides to every story, and I'm not saying Clay's perfect in this, but definitely it's not a situation where we pick up our pitchforks and go after him either. But yeah, so it looks like Jordan and Mike are going to be coming into Paradise next week. At least that's what the previews seem to indicate. And they'll be going after. Jordan will be getting a date card going for Nicole, and Mike will get a date card and probably ask Caelynn. So we've seen that a little bit from the previews. Um, and so I definitely believe maybe this is also going to be the beginning of the mystery fight with Jordan. We've seen from Christian. By the way, if you haven't watched my sleuthing or preview videos, we've pretty much figured out that Christian from Becca's season, he was eliminated very early on, is going to be in Paradise as well. If you remember, there's a pretty well-known, if you've been watching Bachelor for a number of years, or at least like since Becca's season, that Jordan and Christian at the Men Tell All, Christian coming after Jordan. Jordan's looking at his shoes and pants and being like, "High waters, really?" And so they have a bit of a history of not liking each other. And we've seen from the previews that Christian goes on a date with Nicole as well. So perhaps that's a bit of drama there, and the reason for the fighting. Jordan and Christian not liking each other. And then we have Mike. So I think Cam's days are numbered, or he'll have to find another way to get a rose after next week. But so we didn't really have a rose ceremony or anything. I right off the bat, but I'll talk a little bit about who I think is on the chopping block, and I'll need to maybe put up a list of everyone who's here, but certainly I think Bibiana is on the chopping block, unless one of the men who hasn't made a connection yet, finds that they want her to stay around, they want her to find love, and gives her a friendship rose because they themselves haven't found anybody that they want to be with. As well, I'd say with all the taco business and everything, Jane is on the chopping block as well. I don't know the number. I'll have to look back. I'll look back before I make my recap video on the number of women that will be going home. Usually, I'm usually thinking at this point it's somewhere around 3, but it might be 4. if not, I think Sydney again. She seems to be getting little to no screen time. She's looking upset. I think it was about like 5 seconds into her time on Paradise that she was already upset about stuff, just because she wasn't making connections with the people that she kind of was hoping she would on arrival. So I think she might be on the chopping block. And I would have said Annalise as well, but maybe she and Chris B will get a Rose connection. But I don't see that lasting all that much. The way that Chris kind of responded to some of those kisses, uh, I don't think he's as into it as she might hope. But we'll see. I would put Bibby and Sydney and Jane over Annalise, and I don't think Christina is going home. I think there's way too much drama happening. And thank you, Natalia Pizzoa. Thank you so much for the super chat. What do you think about the Blake Insta stories? So yeah, we were talking about that just a little bit a while ago, and they. So I definitely think there's some. The tea is hot. Obviously he posted texts between Caelynn and Caelynn. It's hard to deny. It's hard to deny that Caelynn, she said these things and seemed very much into pushing for like sex with him, and him kind of backing off of it a bit. But the tea is hot. My personal stance on it at the moment, because I'm just like honestly catching up with all of it. It's an overflowing of tea. That I'm sitting on it for the moment. I imagine I got to imagine that Caelynn's got a response for this, and there's more that we're gonna see on the show as well. But holy smokes, it is absolutely incredible the amount of tea that's coming out. So if you're ready to get your pitchfork out for Blake. There's a little bit more to it, and you know what? I'll say he's definitely a step above of some of the men that we've seen on say Hannah's season. For instance, at least he immediately posted this sort of apology as well, because I do think there is fault on his side. Certainly, in almost every situation, there's two sides to every story, but I definitely there's a lot more to it than we might have thought after watching this episode. So I'm waiting for more tea. Let's sip it. Let's enjoy it, and let's wait for more. Is what I think. I wouldn't tie up Blake and send him out of town just yet. So, and Alyssa, thank you so much for the super chat and for supporting the stream. Annalise tried to be a white knight with Clay. Yeah, definitely. It's a very very white knight sort of thing. My gut feeling on that was that at least the way Clay seemed to respond to everything was that, again, he wasn't as bad of a dude as maybe you would normally think in a situation like that, with someone coming forward with all this information and everything. He seemed pretty reasonable about his response, and I would say like 3 months seems to be like an okay time to break up and get on Paradise and try to find someone else. Especially, I think they were dating 8 months or something like that, which is not no short time. But it's also it's a different kind of situation than if you're dating for many years and everything, and there's a lot of context taken out of it. So I wouldn't again get the pitchforks out for Clay just yet. I'm sure again we're going to hear more. So wait on that as well. And Bradley, thank you so much for the super chat. What do you think about Hannah B showing up in Bachelor in Paradise? So I do believe that Hannah's just going to be coming in as sort of a like to talk to the other women or provide advice. It's going to be a situation like that, as opposed to a her coming on and she's a contestant or anything like that. And I say that because it's something they've done many times before. Last season they had Becca come on, and it sort of like messed Colton up for an episode. Like, oh, she's here, and I'm still sort of in love with her. They might do that. You know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, and then I'm kind of talking about it, and we can talk about a sort of conspiracy, maybe. Is that they might be trying to replicate the exact same thing that they did with Colton, but with Mike. So, last season on Bachelor in Paradise, Mike came on, or sorry, Colton came onto the show after being eliminated from Becca's season, and they brought Becca into Paradise. And Colton was very like, oh my gosh, like I'm still kind of feeling things, but you know what? Over the course of this journey, I'm starting to realize that I'm ready to move on and find love. And then he becomes the Bachelor. So we know that Hannah B is going to be coming on to the show, right? And she'll be coming on, maybe doing that same sort of thing, talking about advice for other people. Here's some of the red flags for some of the guys that I know, or maybe this guy is a total sweetheart, and also providing more promo for the show, right? And maybe at that point Mike will already be there, and he'll see her and go, oh, it's bringing back feelings, or it's tough to see her. I know I'm moving on, but it's hard to see her. But now, I know I'm ready to truly move forward and find love, and then it'll be another Bachelor story. So we'll see. A little bit of a conspiracy, but who knows? Ultimately, at the end of the day, conspiracy hats off, tinfoil hats off. I think it's really just, she's going to be on to provide promo for the show and do a little segment where she gives advice and stuff like that. And also, thank you, Donald from Detroit. Thank you for the super chat. Really appreciate the support. So yeah, definitely Hannah, she's not going to be a contestant. She's not going to be there handing out roses or anything. So I'm almost certain. I mean, hey, who knows? Anything can happen in Paradise, but I'm almost certain. So at the end of the day, we'll see how everything goes with Mike, but I feel like he is a strong contender for Bachelor. And if he's going after Caelynn, I am interested to see how that goes, because there's also been some evidence that Caelynn is going to be connecting with Dean. So, good opportunity for Mike to lose out on love and have a second chance in January. So the only other options really are Tyler, and who knows with all the stuff that's coming out. Even though I think it's very different, and I don't think Tyler's like we should get the pitchforks out for him either. But I don't know if they'll want him or if he wants to for Bachelor. Maybe he'll be on for Dancing with the Stars, which will conflict with Bachelor. So I think it's at this point Mike and Peter, who are the only two options. Unless like someone else, who knows? Chris B comes out of Paradise. They decide it's him, but I doubt it. I think it's Mike or Peter. So yeah, Dean is defending Caelynn on Twitter. So yeah, if he's yeah, you know, hey, there's some sleuthing that might end up um you know, showing that Dean is with Caelynn. If he's super on Caelynn's side, we'll see how much on her side he is. But hey, that's a situation where, you know, Dean could be with Caelynn. We've already had a few, if you've watched my videos, few pieces of evidence that might point to Dean and Caelynn. And thank you, ELM, Mike for Bachelor. Thank you for the super chat. Absolutely, I'm ready for it. I think he'd be a great Bachelor. I think he'd be interesting, um, and he'd be a strong lead. So absolutely. And Bree, just wanted to say I love you. LOL. LOL, love you too. Thank you so much for the super chat and for supporting the stream. Really appreciate it. Um, so yeah, it's holy smokes, a whole bunch of uh of tea to come out, and we've barely even talked about the episode. We've got Dylan and the whole Hannah thing, and Dylan's becoming it seems to be a sort of grocery store Joe storyline. If you remember from that season of Bachelor in Paradise, Grocery Store Joe seemed to just sort of be on one person, and that was Kendall, and the taxidermy lady, and she sort of had a few other suitors, not crazy serious, but she explored a little bit, and Grocery Store Joe just sort of said, it's you or nothing, and if it's not you, then I'm going home. And at the end of the day, he won her heart, and she sort of realized, like, hey, he's a great guy, and he's into me, and I'm into him. And I think it's going to sort of be the same thing. We're going to see Hannah exploring things with Blake. We know that I believe there's still more footage to come for that. And at the end of the day, though, she's going to end up with Dylan. And I've changed things to this proposal shot. As I've talked about in some of my other videos before, I do believe that this proposal shot is going to be between Dylan and Hannah. So if you're there, if you're one of these people who are like, we must protect Dylan at all costs, I think he's going to have a happy ending. And if you're wondering why the heck I think that these two are Dylan and Hannah, I've talked about it on my videos. Go check them out. But it mainly goes from these bands that are on their arms. Primarily Dylan's. This blue band that's on his right arm. We've seen it before on Dylan. And then there's also this one that some people have said they've seen on Hannah before as well. And Hannah does wear a band on her arm in her cast shot for Bachelor in Paradise. We have seen Hannah talk about fantasy suites in the previews, and fantasy suites are only ever something that happens at the very end of the show. So right before they have these sort of commitment ceremonies where you don't necessarily have to get engaged, but you can decide to have a committed relationship at the end of it. Or like, at least that's usually the case. They really push for engagements here, but it's not entirely necessary. So yeah, if you're Team Dylan, hold out hope. I think he's going to get engaged. There are a couple of other engagement shots, and I can't confirm anything about them other than the Dylan and Hannah one, which I'm almost certain is Dylan and Hannah at this point, based on the evidence we've accrued. But this one here, I have speculated it is Katie, simply because she also has a time where she talks about fantasy suites. So I don't know the other guy, but I do think that it will be Katie as well. But it would be a pretty big fake out, and it could be. It could definitely be a fake out. This one I can't 100% confirm, but that's what my gut is telling me. I have no other evidence to support anything else. So, and Donald from Detroit, thank you again for the super chat. Really, thank you for supporting the stream. So it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be an interesting season. We've got definitely multiple engagements. There are other shots. They have like 4 or so shots, 4 maybe 5, but I'd say only 2 confirmed engagements, but more than one. So yeah, I saw that Crispy was on Bachelor Pad. Yeah, I remember Bachelor Pad from a while ago. It was before, before it was leading up to the days of Paradise was Bachelor Pad. And yeah, Crispy has been on like a number of Bachelor seasons. So, you know, we'll see. Has anyone compared nail color yet? I'll double check it. It has been something that I've used in the past, nail colors. I used that to figure out that Tasha was in the final 3 nail color. So I'll be keeping my eyes out, my eyes peeled. So yeah, who's Dylan? Yes, Dylan. We must protect Dylan. Absolutely. Bachelor Pad was the summer show before Bachelor in Paradise. And any guesses for who the girl is with Demi? So, yeah, I have no guesses. I know some people have said Annalise, but I don't believe that. I do have evidence. So she does have this specific tattoo on her forearm, on her right hand, or sorry, her right forearm, and I will be checking everywhere for that, especially once I start getting into the footage. I haven't like really gotten into all the footage yet. A little bit of yesterday's episode footage, but I'll be double checking. And there's still a lot more people to come. So, and Sarah, thank you so much for the super chat. How do you feel about Blake clearing the air about the situation with Caelynn? Do you think that actually helped situation? So, yes. So we've talked a little bit about this already, or a lot of it, but so with the whole Blake thing, I do believe that it opens up. I think that Blake did this very purposefully, because certainly now, if you just look around to people's reaction to everything, Blake now, like Caelynn's now a little more in question, and so I wonder if Blake had absolutely said nothing, if that would be the case. I think a lot of people would have immediately just picked up the pitchforks and gone after him. And now we kind of know that there's more to the story about everything. My kind of take on everything right now is I'm sitting on it. And I'm just sort of like waiting for more to come out. And I guess what I mean by that is I think there's a lot more to come. So I want to kind of like just say, holy smokes, things are crazy. Both sides are kind of there's more to the story than everything that meets the eye. But I'll answer. Do you think this actually helped the situation? I think this is only going to make things messier. Absolutely, but we're getting more proper information, because I think if you read the text, I was kind of shocked at how one-sided against Caelynn those were. Now, I will say Blake obviously was in control of releasing those texts, so if there was anything negative against Blake, obviously he had the power to leave those out of the stories. I mean, certainly the texts themselves are very clear about what they say. That Caelynn seemed to be very much pursuing a sexual relationship with him, and he kind of was like saying a lot of like, that's what all the girls say, or something like that. And she was like, no, come on, let's do it. Like, she was really pushing for that. Um, but yeah, does it help the situation? It depends on who you're asking. Certainly, it's a lot of mess, and I think there's a lot more to talk about over the next few weeks. And I can't imagine Caelynn won't have a response to that. So we'll see. And yeah, and congrats on clearing up the claims drama. Thank you so much. Yeah, no, that all. If you had listened to some of my previous videos and previous chat, there was some just crazy claims stuff on, like, I don't know, it was background music or something, and it was all done. It was all cleared up. Everything's good. We can go back to everything that we used to, but I think one fun thing that came out of it was the dubbing, and I'll still be using some of that just for fun when I find it. Um, so did you see that Christina posted in support of Blake on his Instagram? Interesting stuff. Yeah, that is really interesting. Because she kind of came in this episode anti Blake. I haven't seen it. I'll double check that. I honestly, it's like I'm catching up on all this drama. It just keeps throwing itself at everyone. So we'll see. And War Machine Rocks, thank you so much for the super chat. Really interesting. Interested in seeing who ends up as a couple, not necessarily engaged. More like Kevin and Astrid or Joe and Kendall. Also need more Juan Pablo Jones. Juan Pablo Jones, Spanish speaking extraordinaire. Yeah, so as I've said before, and we've kind of speculated talking about Dean defending Caelynn on Twitter, that Dean and Caelynn might be a couple that end up not engaged on the show. I haven't seen now they've shown us some engagement shots, but I've only seen two that I can confirm are actually from the show. One was a fake out. It was Ashley and Jared getting engaged last season in Paradise. So that was a fake out. The other one that they showed was from the Goose and Crystal's wedding. And then there are two others. One that I believe is Katie, and one that I believe is Dylan and Hannah. So I haven't seen any other information. So if there's any other stuff or sleuthing that comes out about couples leaving Paradise, I'm thinking that's a non-engagement. So that's why I'm leaning that way with Dean and Caelynn, who there has been some sleuthing could possibly be leaving Paradise together. Now, we don't know if they decide on the last episode or the last couple of episodes to say, you know what, let's leave Paradise, let's do this together, or if they get to that commitment ceremony. We've seen Demi also at a commitment ceremony as well. Don't know if that's a fake out or anything, but there is this mystery woman, and she has talked about engagements there. So there's a lot more that could happen, but we'll see. We'll see. And yeah, so glad Becca never picked Blake. Yeah, there's been quite a few interesting men coming out of that season. So maybe she dodged at least one bullet there, but yeah, it's crazy how everyone's craziness comes out more in Bachelor in Paradise. It is the crazy place to be. This is the place for it. And there's also just so many more people and so many more couples as opposed to everyone looking after one person. But really fun. And so what do you think of Demi's girl not being from Bachelor Nation? I would say that yeah, I mean, I would buy that because so far I haven't been able to find evidence for someone from Bachelor Nation. But again, like, we haven't seen everybody that's going to be coming in yet. But there's something, yeah, there's something fishy there. There definitely is. And yeah, no, and Blake, oh, yeah, everything with Blake. This is why we can't have nice things. Claudia Ayaya, Miss Cam Ayaya, ooh, Caelynn Ayaya. And regarding your last couple of videos to my ears, Demi says, really just don't want to lose you. Yeah, maybe. I think ultimately more what I was saying was I definitely don't think it was Haley. So a good amount of Bachelor people are supporting Blake under his post, who might know more than we all do. Yeah, at the end of the day, I do think you know we should have that perspective. We should look at everything, but also understand that there's a lot more behind the scenes, and there are people supporting Blake. And I definitely believe that that Blake is not quite as a horror show as what we might think. And you should have a Discord. You know what? I will absolutely look into that. I definitely will. Definitely will look into a Discord and everything. I'm gonna be always looking for more stuff to do with the channel. So we're gonna be coming to the end of our live stream here. So if you can get your last questions in now, that'd be wonderful. How long have you been a Bachelor/Bachelorette fan? A while, a long while, enough to get as crazy about it as to start a YouTube channel and analyze it like whole ton. Um, and well, I can definitely say I did watch the first season. Absolutely watched that live. That was when I was younger, much younger with my mom. She watched it, and I watched a bit of it. And then I more seriously came to it over the years, or a Patreon. Yeah, I have also been looking into a Patreon as well, and maybe I'll coincide that, or I've been thinking about it, and I'll coincide that perhaps with the next season of The Bachelor, maybe, because I kind of have been thinking about stuff like that, but also worried that you know, we're going to be coming to the off season, and there might be a little bit less. Like I'll still be coming out with content. I'll still be doing stuff, but at the end of the day, the big, the meat and potatoes is Bachelor, Bachelorette, and Bachelor in Paradise, and it'd be kind of weird to have this sort of big stuff right at the end of the seasons. But definitely, I am thinking about all that stuff, and we're almost at 50K. And I promised that at 50K I'd be doing a dog reveal. I have 2 dogs. So will you be covering the Australian Bachelor? I've been thinking about that. I've been looking at that. And I'm definitely going to be watching it. I don't know how I will cover it, but I will probably be doing something on that as well. Probably. There's a lot of videos that I have kind of in the pipeline. And things are so crazy. With like 2 episodes of Bachelor in Paradise, and the whole season ahead, and there's tea that's coming out. I'll be getting to everything as soon as I can, but I have a couple of things in the pipeline as well. Who's your top Bachelor in Paradise couple right now besides Dylan and Hannah? Katie and someone. Apart from engagements, I would say like. Top in terms of making it to the end, I have Dean and Caelynn. We haven't even seen Dean yet, but that's probably what I'll say for that. Are you still gonna make the Luke S video? So you just asked, are you still gonna make the Luke S video? I have had a video planned. I am planning on doing it. It might come out in the next like later in the month, but something like that will happen. And we need a name for Bachelor Fantake fans. Yes, I've already, if you looked past in one of my earlier streams, I've already revealed my name. It's Chris, by the way. Not Harrison. Not Chris Harrison. But that is my name, Chris. Yes, Luke P, yeah. And, yeah, and Discord is like a place where people come to chat. That's, for Bachelor Fantake and everything. So that's going to be the end of the stream. Thank you so much for joining us. We've got another Bachelor in Paradise week ahead of us. Just a few days away on Monday. One less day to wait before Bachelor content. Or you meant maybe a name for fan takers or something like that. Okay, I'll think about something like that. Sleuthers or something. Tinfoil hat team, or I don't know. We'll get it. Absolutely. So thank you all for joining me on this post-show live stream. So I will be coming out with a recap. It will likely be on Thursday. It will be a little bit longer. It'll be covering both episodes. And if people want more than that, we'll see in maybe a couple of weeks. I'll go back to the 2-episode format, the 10-minute or so episode recaps. And there's always going to be more on the way. So, and thank you, Caelynn Needles, for the super chat. Thank you for supporting the stream. Thanks for coming out. Always enjoy talking to you, talking about the show. And until next time, Bachelor Fantake out.